It's the Scrap Gals podcast with Tiffany and Tracy. Let's go.
Hey everybody, this is Tiffany.
And this is Tracy.
And we're the Scrap Gals. We have a fun show in store for you today because we are talking with two Scrap Gals, two scrappy sisters who are getting ready to open a local scrapbook store.
Yay!
And you know that Tracy and I absolutely love to celebrate and to, to advertise even our local scrapbook stores because there are so few of them left. We want to do what we can to make them successful. And we also want to hear all about how they reached that decision. So we have with us today Lynn Madden and Danielle Gray, sisters who are getting ready to open a local scrapbook store in Ohio. Welcome to the show, Lynn. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is my favorite podcast of all time. And I am excited to share our new adventure.
That's awesome. And Danielle, thank you for being here with us too.
Thank you for having us on. We're very excited about this. Lynn got me into listening to you, and I have enjoyed very much listening to this podcast and learning things, especially like the life stories. That's my favorite part.
Well, y'all have the right answers so far, so keep going.
Well, before we get started, there's something I have to say. Sisters, there were never such devoted sisters. And you look like
that is
twins.
Really funny because we have two other sisters as well, and whenever we're all together, we sing that song.
Oh, do you? Yeah. I didn't even know that. You look like twins, but you're not, right?
No.
But you said you get asked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us all about where the store will be. Let's start there, and when it will be open.
Okay, well, our store is in Mentor, Ohio, which is on the east side of the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Okay.
And we're going to be located, we're there already. We're in a little strip mall in a very busy shopping area. It's near a mall and a bunch of other little strip malls. So lots of people come there to do shopping. And we chose this location because of the convenience from different freeways for people coming from farther away. And also because there's a shop next to our shop where this lady sells home goods that she's made herself and furniture that she's refinished herself. And it's really, really exciting. And she was happy that we were moving in, and we were happy to be moving in next to her. And we're already planning joint events with her because she does classes at her shop too. And we're going to be offering classes. So we've talked about doing, some type of class that both clientele could come to. So,
And when are you going to be open?
Our soft open is August 1st, and we're going to have a grand opening event in September.
Okay.
So how did you all decide to open a store? That's a really brave move to make at this point because the local scrapbook store for a lot of people seems to be dying. I'm so glad you don't agree. But how did you all come to this decision and talk us through that process?
Okay, well, I have been scrapbooking for a long time, and I go to usually around 6 crops a year. And I go with my best friend, and we sit and talk to all these other people scrapbooking. And so many people have said how much they miss having a local scrapbook store, how much they miss being able to see things in person before they buy them. Also, how it's very hard at the big box stores to find what they want.
Ain't that the truth?
Right. So, all the stores have reduced their paper crafting areas by quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I just decided, well, I didn't just decide. I had been thinking about it for a while, but I decided that now was the time because my life was changing. My kids both went off to college, and my husband is retiring. So things are changing. And I decided this was a perfect time to just do what I've always wanted to do and open a local scrapbook store, even though everyone said, "Are you crazy?" I might be a little bit crazy, but I really think that we can do this for so many different reasons, which we can get into. so that was it. That was the reason. That was why now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked my sister to join me because she has a lot of experience in retail, and she's also just very creative and very colorful. And I think that the two of us, we always work together well as a team. And I think we're just going to have a blast.
And for the record, that's Lynn that's talking there. And Danielle, how did you feel about that when she asked you?
I was very excited. I was excited for her because this is something she's wanted to do for about 10 years at least, that she's talked about opening a scrapbook store. And it was excited for me because I needed to do a creative job. The job I have right now is great, and it's, I have worked with wonderful people, but it's just not what I want to be doing with my life. And having an opportunity to work creatively, work with people, teach again, do things like that really excites me. I cannot wait for this to be my job. I am just so excited.
What do you think that each of you really brings to the business in terms of making it successful? Like, how have you talked about or decided what each of your roles will be and, why you think that's a good fit? Let's start with you, Lynn.
Great question.
Okay. Yes, that is a great question. I have lots of experience doing bookkeeping for local small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I already understood, all the things I was going to have to pay for, taxes and workers' comp and, just everything, security, all those different things. I already sort of had a grasp on what it takes to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the passion for a paper crafting business because that's really all I do is make things with paper and all the other mixed media and all that kind of stuff, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I bring to the table, like sort of a business knowledge and the lots of experience in making paper crafts.
And then I worked 10 years in retail at Barnes & Noble. I worked my way up to being a merchandising manager where I learned visual merchandising and also customer service and really learning how to focus on what customer needs are and getting that knowledge. So I think we are a very good pair to have because we are very strong in our both of our respective areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we make a good complement to each other.
I have to say, I really admire a woman who can say, here's what I bring to the table. I really like that in a woman, in a person. But I think also I know of so many scrapbook stores that did not succeed because their owners did not understand business. But then there are other scrapbook stores that did not succeed because their owners really did not understand the scrapbook industry and what their customers want. And so it sounds like to me that you have a good grasp on both of those. And I would say that you have the luxury of having visited scrapbook stores that probably didn't work out and seeing what they did wrong. Would you say that's true?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I feel when I go into a scrapbook store and what I've heard from other people is we don't want to see the same thing we saw 3 months ago.
Yeah. So how are you going to avoid that?
Well, we're marking our products when we put it out, when the month that we put it out.
Okay.
And we're going to rotate and constantly have like the new collections from different designers. We're going to order them as soon as they're possible and just rotate the materials and then have a clearance sale maybe if we need to get rid of stuff that we bought too much of.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And then also we're going to have, I had the fortune of talking to an owner of a scrapbook store, and she told me that we should order wide and shallow.
Oh, tell us about that.
Okay.
So order a bunch of different things, but not too many of them.
I was thinking that. I was going to say one way that a scrapbook store that I worked at succeeded was limiting the number of items that she ordered. She got to know her customer base so well that she could look at a sticker sheet and say, I'll sell 20 of those. And so sometimes she would order 16 because she wanted there to be a demand for it. She did not Remember when Ann Kelly would do that, Tiffany? We would have to
absolutely.
say, we want those. Order us one of those, because they would be gone the minute they came in. But it kept that excitement and demand. Whereas, there's a store that when I go to the beach, I go to, and y'all, I am not kidding. She has product in that store that was in the store I worked at when I met Tiffany in 2002.
Oh my God.
It's still in there in 2023. And I'm like, what are you thinking? You can't do that. And I'm sure you know that.
Yes. That's something that I learned working at the bookstore is change brings people in. It makes it more exciting. You want to know what's going on. It's what gets us our repeat customers. Just constantly having something different. And we like that too. It makes us interested in, we are our clientele.
Right.
We are the people that, we go to the store. So we kind of think about what we want and how we want to present that to other people.
Mm-hmm. Something I'm interested in hearing about is, I know you've got about 6 weeks before the store opens, but I'm sure that you're already in your space and starting to make things happen. So tell us a little bit about how you envision organizing your space. How are you going to make it feel, welcoming to scrapbookers? And what are you excited about that you've arranged or designed for your space? I think that'll be fun to hear.
We have talked about this a lot, and we actually have made little models of the whole store. It's kind of a long and skinny store. Mm-hmm. So when you first come in, it's going to be sort of open. We like to have an open atmosphere. And then we're going to have things grouped by collections. I don't know, Danielle, do you want to talk about it more? You're better at the merchandising stuff.
Sure. That's one of the things we noticed when we went to scrapbooking stores is looking at, I discovered Dare to be Artsy because we walked into a scrapbook store and there was a whole wall of all of their stuff, and it made me jump for joy because it was so cute. I needed to have everything. And so that's the kind of feeling we want to have is so you could see how the die set matches the paper, matches the stamps, and it kind of just brings you you want everything. You want to buy it. You want to buy it all. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of our most important things is making sure that people have access to all that and see it all. And we have also we both have our own things that we like. I like sparkly things, and Lynn likes paper flowers, and having that part too, what we like, and presenting it in a way that gets people excited because we're excited about it. I think that's going to be the key to how we set up our store is what makes us excited to see and how is it laid out. We have a flow plan and we have sections that we want to have because we are on top of doing scrapbooking. We're going to do card making and journaling. Okay. The various sort of journaling, art journaling and junk journaling and just planners and stuff like that. So we're going to have sections as well where people can go and find what they need, but also have surprises too. We have I'm excited about doing a table in the middle of our store with whatever is brand new and fun and exciting that I want to make or focus every week.
Well, I've worked at 5 scrapbook stores, and the one I worked at that was organized by manufacturer was by far the most successful. And I do not like stores that are organized by theme. I don't like it when Michael's does it, and I don't like it when a scrapbook store does it. But as you were talking, I was thinking about how when you go as a buyer to a show like CHA, or now it's called Creativation, which I don't even know if it barely exists now. But, if you think about it, the booths are by manufacturer because you go in as a scrapbook store owner and you say, what does Vicki Booten have for me today, this year? What, this season? What does Paige Evans have this season? What does Heidi Swap have coming out? That's how I want to shop as a consumer. And I would think that's how you want to shop as a scrapbook store, and a scrapbook store owner, it just makes sense to arrange your store by collection, in my opinion. Don't you think so, Tiffany?
Absolutely. And I think that, at least in my experience, sometimes scrapbook stores struggle because they don't really understand the business side of things. But sometimes what happens is the people who are operating a scrapbook store they're not scrapbookers. And so they aren't able to put themselves in the shoes of the people who want to spend their money there.
They're not in touch with the industry. Is that too part of it? Right?
Exactly. And so the fact that you all are interested and excited by scrapbooking and still doing it is a huge point in your favor, at least from my perspective on the outside.
Yeah.
We did actually go to Creativation in April, and that really was great for us because we did find some places that we weren't, I was sort of vaguely familiar with, but like one example is Picket Fence. They had a huge booth display, and we spent a lot of time there because they showed us everything, and we made little make and takes, and
it was full of sparkly things that I just totally fell in love with.
Yeah, so we ended up buying stuff from Picket Fence, which we might not have bought if we hadn't gone to Creativation. And they just had
Ecstasy Crafts was another one that was like a revelation to us. We kind of
tell us about both of those companies. I've never heard of either.
Okay, well, Picket Fence is a smaller company. I think it's like a family run. They make all kinds of stuff. So they make lots of sparkly stuff for my sister, such as like confetti and sequin mixes,
like shaker fillers, things like that.
Yeah, shaker card fillers, and they also make stamps and die cuts. And then they have these really cute little things they just came out with, which are this like ink daubers, but they're in these little bright colors like a rainbow. So you can have a stamp, a dauber for each different color, and they are so cute. I love them.
And they're called paper pouncers. Is the name?
Cute.
They're adorable. They are.
Yeah. So they have a lot of stuff that's really good for card making. But like me, what I like to do is take those elements, like a little shaker element, and put it on a page, or a stamp and a die cut, and make like a border out of them or something. So I plan to have examples in the store where these products that might be sort of geared toward card making can be used on a layout. Yeah. And so like then Ecstasy Crafts, we didn't really know about, and they're a Canadian company, and they're a distributor for a bunch of different brands, different manufacturers. And so there were a lot of things there that we hadn't really heard of. Like there was one called 3/4 Designs, and they're from Australia? Is that where they're from?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. And they have some really interesting products. And they also they call them teacher packs. So it's a set for a class. I think there's like 25 projects, 25 copies of the same project in their teacher pack. And so it just gives you everything you need for a class. And it's like little mini albums, and like they have one that we're planning to do a class that's got a little chipboard album that you decorate.
It's Halloween. It's sort of a Halloween themed one. I can't wait to do it. It's going to be fun.
Well, that's a good segue into my next question, which is, are you going to have room for a classroom and a crop? And if so, tell us about that. How many people it holds? What kind of events? Are you having weekly crops? All that kind of stuff.
Yes, we do have a classroom area. We kind of wish we had made it bigger after we all was said and done, but it holds 12 people.
Okay.
And we are going to offer every second Friday of the month a crop night. We haven't really flushed out all the details, but we plan on charging like $10, and then you can come and you can use our Cricut Maker, our die cutting machines, any of the tools we have back in our crop room for classes and things. And then you can just come and hang out with your friends or your family and make stuff. And we will we will, have a tab, like a running tab for people if they want to buy something in the store while they're cropping.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to have lots of different classes. We have so many ideas. I think when I first decided, yes, we were doing this scrapbooking thing for real, this store for real, I sat there and I wrote a list, like it was like 2 pages that just came out of my head in like 5 minutes of all the classes that I wanted to do.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'm most excited about actually, is meeting people and sharing my love of these projects and making layouts and all the different possibilities that there are with the different products, because I recently, like in the past 5 or 6 years, really changed my method of scrapbooking, my way of looking at scrapbooking and making layouts and keeping my memories. And part of it also is from listening to the Scrap Gals podcast. And like we said before, the life stories, they're amazing. I love those shows. And so that made me look at my scrapbook in a different way. It's instead of just, making pretty things and putting pictures on the page, I want to preserve my story. I want to tell my story. I want to tell my family's story. And so that's why the name of our store is Craft Your Story.
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, that makes us so happy that you say that. But yeah, I wanted you to tell us about that. How did you choose that name?
Well, because I like the idea of journaling, and I've been listening to you guys talk about journaling, and that's made me want to put more journaling in my pages, but also start actually journaling. And so I thought about, I actually thought about calling the store Tell Your Story.
Mm.
But then I realized, with scrapbooking or even card making, or, like I like to do the junk journaling and stuff, it's more about craft. It's like, paper crafts. So you can tell your story in a crafty way. So that's where I came up, Craft Your Story, because that's what I do. I craft my story. And I also make my sister craft her story. We have 2 other sisters, and we've tried to make them craft their stories, but they're not so interested.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Lynn definitely got me into scrapbooking, for sure. I would probably not have done any of that if it hadn't been for her. When she started with her kids doing things, I had just been traveling the world. And I'm like, oh, well, what a great way to, tell that story. I still love looking at them. It makes me happy and sad at the same time to go back and look at my story of all my travels all over the world.
What would make you sad about that?
Because I don't do it anymore.
Oh.
I'm home all the time. I'm stuck to Cleveland now.
Well, here's a question for you both. You might have to think about this for a minute. What has been hard so far? I want to hear from both of you. Danielle, you start. What's been something that's been hard?
Trying to work 2 jobs at once, because my last day of my current job is tomorrow, and I've been trying to help Lynn as we've been going through this past few months, and trying to balance both that. And then I just got married recently and inherited 3 stepkids, and trying to do that. So all of that has been the hardest part.
Just
is
balancing everything.
Time management, yes.
Lynn?
Well, apart from, just the sheer huge amount of things, little things that have to be done, the only thing that has been hard is freight shipping. Because we've had to order like big things like the fixtures and like their first Notions order, which Notions is another big distributor that sells everybody. It came on a huge pallet, and so these things have had to be delivered by freight. And our store is in a strip mall, and it's kind of got a small front parking area. And the way our store is set up, you have to deliver through the front. So it's been kind of a nightmare with the freight shipping. But other than that, actually things have been going fairly smoothly, and I'm going to knock on some wood now.
Right.
One good thing that I probably should mention is that we have a SCORE mentor. I don't know if you've heard of SCORE.
No. Have you, Tiffany?
It's
No, I don't know what that is.
I think it's like a branch of the Small Business Administration. And so
Oh.
it's business people who are mentors to people who are starting businesses.
Hmm.
So we have a really great mentor. His name is Tom, and he really makes us do things we don't want to do, like cost projections and, sales forecasts and all that stuff. But it has been extremely helpful. I think this would have been much harder had we not had that help, honestly.
Mhm.
Yes, it made us really think about where our money is and where it's coming from and what we need to do in order to make this a profitable business.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed, and this is just me snooping on your website that you're developing, but one of the things that I noticed and really appreciated is the hours that you've set for your business. Because I have run into, as I have traveled and wanted to visit scrapbook stores around the country, I've run into the fact that a lot of them are not open on the weekend. And a lot of them close very early. And so, looking at just what you have on your website, that you're going to be open until 7 p.m. from Wednesday to Saturday, and that you have Sunday hours, I think is a great decision. So kudos to you for that.
We had a conversation about that because both of us work, and we thought, well, you can never do anything after work when people close at 5.
Right.
You never, and then, the weekends you have to do laundry, you have to take care of the kids, you have to do all this other stuff. And it's hard to get one day to go do something fun. And especially if it's you have to have Sunday hours in order to have people have time to come and have a fun time, relax and enjoy.
Here's a tip for you. In all of the stores that I worked in, like I said, there were 5. When we had a crop night, we left the store open for people to come and shop, because the best advertisement ever was for people to come in and shop. And us all be sitting there like, yeah, this is so much fun. And, it was just like a big old party. And then the people that came in there and shopped said, well, how can I get in on this?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
And also, it'd be hilarious how somebody would come at 10 o'clock to buy one piece of paper because they were at their house scrapbooking and they were like, I need glue. And even if it was once a month, or I don't remember how often you said you were going to do it, but it's just like it gives that late night person a time to come over there, and they can't sit there and crop, but they can shop. Why would you not have somebody come and shop if you're going to be there anyway,
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's a really great idea.
Have a big sign that says, join our wait list, because you might find that you have 12 more people that want to come every other week. And if it's worth your while,
Right. Yeah. See, we're actually in our back area where the storeroom is and the restrooms are. We're putting like a mural on this big wall that has nothing on it. And we're going to have a spot where people can write suggestions. So,
oh, good.
They can write, hey, you should have 2 crops a month, or you should have a crop every week, or, you need to carry this line or whatever. So I really do think that we're going to be open to what people want and be able to change and adapt and make it, because we've been talking about this whole scrapbooking community. We want to foster that. We really do. And so whatever people want within reason, we want to do, so that we can have people come and hang out. And what we would really like to do is sort of like girls' night out events too, which may not be, within the store hours. It may be something different, or, a birthday party or whatever. Come and make something fun and just hang out with us and, have fun. That's our goal.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned creating and fostering a sense of community with your store, because I do think that is something that scrapbookers long for. I know that Tracy and I, we do a lot of things with the Scrap Gals to help create that sense of community and to really build that sense of belonging for our listeners. Whether we're talking about our Facebook group or our Instagram shares, or when we did the Make It March project, or even just the bonus content that we offer along with the podcast. The reasoning behind that is because we want people to feel like they belong and like they're getting something from us that they might not be able to get otherwise. So what are some things that you already have kind of in the works, or some things you're toying with doing that would help create that sense of community when it comes to your store?
We have a couple things. We're definitely doing our Facebook and getting that out. We'd like to develop Instagram and TikTok, and I think TikTok's real fun because you get to do the little videos, and it's kind of funny. You could be a little bit more funny on it, I think. And then Lynn just had a really good idea about doing a scrap lift challenge. I don't know if we're going to do it like weekly or doing it monthly, but and then having a thread on Facebook or Instagram or something where you can show your pictures, and and then maybe we were toying with some ideas of maybe having a winner, picking a winner every month, and you get a little something from us. But a reason to come into the store to see what the
latest and greatest is.
Yeah, or and then see what the scrap lift is going to be for that week or that month or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. On our social media, what gets the most response is when we say, post your most recent picture, or post your most recent picture of yourself and tell us what you're doing today. It's so funny how people they won't respond to anything we say. And then we say, post your most recent picture of yourself. There they are. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know what that's about, other than it's kind of like we all walk into the room and shake hands and hey, here I am.
Oh, right,
and so
right.
you feel free to steal that.
That's a great analogy. It's like, hey, I'm here. What's happening?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Well,
one of the things I've learned from listening to you guys is taking pictures of yourself, and not just selfies, but other pictures. I think as women, we don't do it as much as we should because, we're too fat, or our hair doesn't look right, or, whatever, our clothes or whatever.
Right.
We always have to make excuses. And I think that I want to do something about doing a self journal or a self scrapbook where you take pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
Consciously take pictures of yourself. And I think it'd be a really fun thing to build within the community of women that we have. Take pictures of yourself and scrapbook them, just of you. You don't have to, in a very non-conscious way, just, take stock of who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Your life stories and pictures of you that you guys do and talk about yourselves, it really made me think about doing that and making that a plan of something that we do for our community.
Well, that makes us so happy. I was thinking how one of the advantages that you have over something we would do, because Tiffany and I will talk about things we could do, and I'm thinking of how I would like to give everybody the same 5 pieces of paper and a set of stickers, and us all go online and have a Zoom crop where we all make the same project all at once together, like an online class, but live. But it would be so hard to do because I'd have to order the supplies, paper comes in packs of 25. And so I'd have to order those, and I'd have to ship 25 packages, or I could have everybody order it themselves from scrapbook.com or something. But you have a store, so even if you can only seat 12 in your classroom, you could have kits where you said, we're going to have an online Zoom crop one night, and everybody come get a kit, and then we'll do it at home. Because even though you have a space for 12 people are still really into still scrapbooking at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I would think that would be an advantage. You have to get stuff out into the community because they could just come by the store.
Right. Yeah. I actually did that. I bought a kit at the store and came home and did the online class for the scrapbook
so you went somewhere that did that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really like that. And it offers a chance for more people to participate than can fit in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I want to go back to what you were saying, Tracy, about if you just ask them to post a picture, it's because it's easy and simple. It's something they can do quickly without too much effort, which, we're all very busy people. And so that's something that's appreciated when you can just do something really quick. So that actually made me think we should think about something that people can engage with us easily and quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, staying on that topic of community, do you know much about the scrapbook community in the area where you're having the store? I know, Lynn, you said you go to about 6 crops a year. Who's hosting those crops? Who are these people? Like, how are they getting together already? And where is your customer base coming from?
Pretty much all the crops that I go to are hosted by Creative Memories advisors. I have 2 different advisors that host different crops throughout the year, and I go to their crops along with my best friend, who is a tried and true Creative Memories person, and I'm hoping that this store gets her to branch out a little bit.
And well, let me interject this. When you go to those crops, are people using, like, are they all using the Creative Memories albums and their products, or are they using a mix of everything?
There's a mix. There's some people like my best friend who really just primarily use Creative Memories stuff unless I, give her something else. But then there are people who bring whatever. They bring all kinds of different things. Like me, I bring whatever I want to work on. And then people do other things there too, like make quilt squares, and one lady was doing one of those diamond paintings. So it's not all necessarily just scrapbooking, but yeah, people use a mix of things. And I think I said before in the beginning, maybe that's where I heard from people what they wish they had in a scrapbooking store. So those have been really good. I would say a lot of the crops around us are Creative Memories, primarily Creative Memories based crops. But then I know there's a few different places where I know there's probably like an hour and a half east of our store. There is a retreat, a scrapbook retreat place where people go and scrapbook. And then I know there's a store out in the western part of our state too that they have their own crops. So they close the store down for like a month, and then they have a super big crop at a hotel somewhere.
Wonder why they closed the store down for a month.
I don't know.
Huh. Well, I was
I
just
wondered that too.
I was telling my friend Renee at dinner tonight that Scrapbook Generations that we had Allison Davis on, where her family owns. They obviously have enough people. They have like a crop more than once a year where they sell it out in a few minutes with 300 people. So it's not like the people are not out there to be the customer and to come to an event. It's that, I think scrapbook stores just make some bad decisions sometimes, or people just change their mind about what they want to do in life. I mean, I feel so good about this, that you're going to thrive as a business. I feel like you really have a good outlook on it. Don't you, Tiffany?
I do. It feels like you have the passion for it that is needed to be a small business owner. I think sometimes people underestimate that it does require a passion and a commitment that is, it's a big deal. It's not easy to be a small business owner. I also think that you all have some strengths when it comes to your business, and in terms of the acumen with bookkeeping and that sort of thing, and with merchandising. So you have the creative and the numbers people, which is a great mix. I think that working with family can be a real blessing, and it sounds like you all are comfortable in playing to your strengths and communicating with each other what you need. I'm really excited for you. I wish you weren't 7 hours away.
I know. I was thinking that. I know.
Yeah, you need to take a long road trip.
Right.
Which we already said we're going to go to Scrapbook Generations. That was like 7 hours to get away. So I guess we just have to buy a new car or something. Well, actually, Tiffany has a new car. Well, let's hear a little bit about your personal scrapbooking history. Lynn, why don't you start off? And Danielle, you said she got you into it, so you can tell on her after this. But Lynn, tell us about how you got started, the style, and maybe how your scrapbooking has changed since you started.
Okay. I started when my firstborn was 4 months old, and I had pretty severe postpartum depression. And my best friend, who was the Creative Memories person, she had met someone who was a Creative Memories advisor. So she started going to, that used to have like the $10 crops way back when. You went to the advisor's house and you did a make and take and stuff. So she, to help me out, she said, bring some pictures to my house. bring the baby and bring some pictures. So I did. And she got me started with her creative memory stuff that she had there with the little circle cutters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hooked immediately. And that really did help, I think, get me out of that circle of, depression where you're not really, it's like, there's nothing really wrong. It's
Right.
just,
Oh, yeah, it's hormones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hormones. So that really did help pull me out of that state I was in. And I was like, I want to do this. Where can I get this stuff? And so I started going with her to the props in Libby's basement. And I just had so much fun and I couldn't stop. And so then where I was living, it wasn't really set up very well to have a craft room. So we remember, Nellie, we made that whole area in the basement.
Yes, I do.
There was not enough light down there, so we had all these lamps clamped to the ceiling, the rafters and stuff. It was crazy. But
we even scrapbook in the dark when the lights turned out. We had the candles scrapbooking in the basement.
Aww.
That's commitment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. So when we looked for a house that we moved out of there, my husband and I said, I don't care about this, that, or the other thing. I need to have a scrapbook room.
Yeah.
So I've been scrapbooking for a long time and pretty much was only doing creative memories up until I would say probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And that's when I started looking in different scrapbook groups online and Facebook especially. And I came across your group and I joined it and people were talking about the podcast. So I listened to that. And then I was in other groups too. And everybody was showing all these different things that I had never heard of and never seen before. So I started trying them. And I was in one group where they did challenges. So one week was, do texture paste or, ink or whatever. There was all these different challenges. And so I learned all of these different techniques and tried all these different products. And I just grew even more in love with scrapbooking because there were so many more possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've had shows about prolific scrapbookers and stuff, and I am definitely one of those.
Oh.
She has an entire IKEA, that giant expedite thing full of scrapbooks. I don't know how many do you have, Lenny?
I stopped counting after 100.
Okay, I just have to stop y'all right here. Are you calling her Lenny and she's calling you Nellie? Because that's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
That is so cute, Lenny and Nellie. May I call you Lenny and Nellie? I just have to.
Sure.
Oh, how cute. Oh, my gosh.
I forgot that
I love it. I've been wanting someone to come on that was that comfortable with each other that they would just forget they were on a scrapbook show. I mean, a podcast. Well, Nellie, how did you get started and when did you get started?
I got started shortly after Lynn. After Lenny got started, Ed, her oldest, was probably about a year old when I started because I moved back home after my master's degree.
Is this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 15? Like how long?
About 20 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's been more than 20 years. It's about 20 years.
Okay.
And like I said before, I had traveled a lot because my degrees are in foreign languages, and so I studied in France and in Spain and in Germany, and I went to Africa. I traveled I got to very luckily, very cheaply, got to travel the world.
We know somebody like that.
And I had a lot of really good pictures to scrapbook, and so Lynn got me into doing this, and I also fell in love. I've always been a creative person. I used to use construction paper and make murals on my dorm room walls because I don't like white walls. So I would cover the walls with flowers or designs and things.
Wow.
And so I've always been a crafter at heart, and she just gave me an outlet to do things with a little bit more. I love the products. Like I can buy scrapbook supplies as a hobby.
Yeah. Well, when you said that she got you into it, I thought you meant like 3 years ago.
Oh no, she's got me into it. No, she's got me hooked. I don't have the. I went back to work on my PhD, and I didn't have time to scrapbook very much then, and then I was working retail, and I didn't have much time to do anything, and so I don't scrapbook like she does because I don't have the area like she does. She has a really wonderful scrapbooking area that she can, do all of her crafts.
Well, sounds like you're quite the slacker. That was a joke. What is this, the smartest person alive? Who am I talking to here?
I do have to interject that while she was working retail, she did do crafts. Like she used to make jewelry and beads and things like that.
Oh.
So she wasn't a total craft slacker. She just wasn't a scrapbooker.
Craft slacker. I like that. I'm using that.
So when you all think about your store and this grand adventure that you are embarking on, what do you want things to look like for you in a year? Like, what are you hoping will be the status of things for your store a year from now?
Great question.
I don't think we've really talked about that or thought about it. We've talked about how long we want to do this because we're not young people really, So, I see a 15-year future for me in the store, and my sister is 8 years younger than I am, so she sees a little bit longer, keeping it going. But for a year from now, I would say that I hope that we have a clientele that we know and that we see in classes, and that we're surviving and making enough money just to keep going. We're not in this to make a bunch of money because we just can't do that really these days with a small business. We want to keep going, and because I think both of us are doing this, yes, to have a living, but also just because this is what we love, and we both are people persons. People.
People. I like it.
Yeah. And so just have people come and talk to us and say, hey, my son is graduating from high school. I want to make a book. What should I use? And, I say, oh, I have the perfect things. Come over here to this section and look at all this cool stuff. And you can, it doesn't have to be graduation themed. You can use this and this and this to make it about your kid.
Or like Caroline, the lady that Caroline nannies for, who said, do all your scrapbook pages go in one scrapbook? Well, my child is 22. And she's wanting to put it all in one. And I thought, that's going to be a big scrapbook. You're going to have a lot of that, I think, aren't you? That somebody's going to come in and say, I want to make this like of their whole high school, or that's the best thing to go to a scrapbook store for when you don't know what to do. Those are the experts there at that store,
Right. And that's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to. What about you? No.
I'm too. I'm looking forward to growing the interest in paper crafting. I work with a bunch of scientists. I'm like an administrator in research, and so when I've talked to these people about what I'm doing, they're like, we've never done anything like that before. And they're kind of interested in doing that. And I'm like, I would love to bring you in and show you, have a class of, how to start a scrapbook or how to do like a mini album, just to sort of like get that little, that hook, that like the hook you in. Because I think that there's so many people who are looking for a creative outlet that don't have it. And are kind of intimidated by that. And I think that'd be great to grow, the interest in paper crafting again.
I have a little anecdote about that. I have hired one of my former coworkers to help us put all the products onto our online store. And she, when I first approached her, she's like, I do not want to do anything creative. And I said, no worries. We've got plenty of stuff for you to do that is not creative. And so she's putting all these pictures of these awesome products onto the website. And then she keeps asking me, she's like, oh, what is this for? What do you do with this? I keep telling her, I'm going to get you scrapbooking by the end of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and another coworker of mine posted on our Facebook page, I had put something about sparkly things, or I don't know, I put some products up there, and she said, I don't even scrapbook, but I'm pretty sure I need these.
Yeah.
So
I've seen people say that before.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some converts.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
It really is like a religion, y'all.
It is.
It is.
We speak our own language, don't we?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, Lynn, I feel like you told us about starting with creative memories and getting started, both of you, but you had mentioned to me outside of the show that now you're really into 6x8. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, and that was all because of the episode you had several years ago about 6x8 books, which I had never heard of before.
Oh, wow.
So I started looking for them, and I got the Snap books,
Yes.
Snap albums.
Simple Stories, Snap albums,
Yep, Simple Stories, Snap albums. And I just played around with it, and I did my December dailies in those. And then I discovered Vicky Boot, and I was like, oh my gosh, she has the cutest little 6x8 albums. So I've been doing her stuff. And before the pandemic, I decided that I was going to do my yearly scrapbook in a 6x8. So I've done 2020, 2021, 2022, and I'm working on 2020. No, actually 2023 is different, but 2020 through 2022 are in little 6x8 albums. So I do those, I call them my journal scrapbooks, basically. So it's just like month by month, what have we done this month? And, little pictures and little, 3x4 cards and that kind of stuff in those. And then I do 12 by 12 for what I call my fancy pages. And those are like, a really nice picture that I want to do, mixed media or, stamping, other kind of like fancy stuff with. And that's worked out pretty well for me. I really enjoy that. And since I have so many scrapbooks, the 6x8 are taking up a lot less room in my life.
For sure.
So I do really enjoy the 6x8. I like turning other things into scrapbooks too. So I'm a really big Harry Potter fan. So my son bought me this Gryffindor journal for Christmas, and I've turned that into my 2023 scrapbook.
Wow.
So I put pictures in it and journal and stuff. It's cute. And then I put little Harry Potter stickers that sort of correlate with this year. I'm just experimenting and trying new things. I still really love creative memory stuff, and I do use that, and I just use everything that I like. If I see something I like, and I use it, and I don't have the problem of buying craft supplies and then never using them. I actually use them.
Oh,
I
good.
buy them
That's
and
awesome.
use them. I mean, not to say that I don't have a whole scrapbook store worth of stuff here in my craft room. I do, but I have plans for things, and I scrapbook so much. I'm sure I'm not going to be able to do this that much now that I own a store, but I do use the stuff. So that's why I like to play around and experiment. And I'm also sort of going back to like the standard classics. Like I have ideas to make pages with buttons and ribbons and stuff that we used to use in the olden days, and just freshen it up and make it new again. And hopefully I can convince other people to do that too. So.
Well, what will you have in the store for people who scrap in 6x8 like me? Like, are you going to sell 6x8 albums?
Yes.
By who?
Nellie, you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Nellie, you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Tell us, Nellie.
I really like the Simple Stories, the 6x8 like binder ones, and also the little. I don't know what they're called. The little. Yes.
What'd you say? We missed that.
The flip book.
Oh, the little flip books.
Yeah, I really like that. I think like I'm planning on doing my wedding shower in a flip book because I have too many photos for like a little album, but not enough for a full album.
Okay.
I think that's I'm learning there's a lot of new things that are going on in the scrapbooking world that I haven't been involved in for a little while. and I kind of fell in love with the 6x8 because it's 6x6 was just not enough room.
Right.
Mhm.
6x8 is just right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
It's like,
the Goldilocks.
that's what I was going to say. Yes. Yep.
And so we have that, and but I think we should have scrapbooks in all different sizes because I think that certain stories need certain pages, certain sizes.
Right. So you're definitely selling albums.
Yes.
Okay.
And so far we have 12 by 12 and 6 by 8 as far as regular, and the flip books as far as regular types of albums.
Mhm.
And since we're doing journaling too, we have several different types and sizes of journals as well.
What about cardstock?
Oh, yes.
Lots of cardstock.
Lots of cardstock. One of the things that I was able to purchase from the lady in Columbus who retired from her store were paper racks, these awesome paper racks.
Mhm.
So excited about them. They're so much easier to see and to get the paper out of than those wire racks. So very excited about that. Yeah.
I can't wait to see them all lined up in the colors.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me so happy when I go to a store and I see all the colors lined up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a happy place for me.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you two will have someone come out and take a lot of pictures of you on the day that you open or right before you open the store. I would love to see you have someone really great with photography come and take and document it for you, because I know it's going to be something you want to look back on. And Lynn, I'm so proud. I just have to say kudos to you for following your heart and your dream, because that is so rare. And it takes a lot of guts and gumption. So my hat is off to you. And Danielle, what a great sister you are to help her fulfill her dream in life. I mean, that is love. You two are making me tear up. I'm just so proud of you both.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
think it's amazing. And I hope that everybody who's listening, if you are not within a day's drive of the store that Lynn and Danielle are opening, I hope that you'll find other ways to support them. Whether that means you shop online or you spread the word about their store to people who live closer or whatever. I'm counting on our community of scrap gals to support them and encourage them, because we want more LSS in our lives. We want more local scrapbook stores.
Well, I'm going to challenge you two to come back on the show in January 2024 and give us an update on how it's going.
Yeah.
Would you like to do that?
We
Yes.
would love to. Yeah.
Okay.
that'd be so much fun. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for your encouragement and your support. It really means a lot.
We were so excited to be coming on because we listened to your show and we're like, we can be on it.
Well, thanks for coming on, because this was an easy show, wasn't it, Tiffany?
Absolutely. And I love talking about shopping.